Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. My name is Michael Keenan. As we know, on this channel, I talk about everything when it comes to starting, growing and scaling education, coaching, consulting, and course businesses online. And for me, a big part of that is talking to others who've gone through that process and started, grown, and scaled their own coaching or consulting businesses so we can hear their story and learn how they did it. So with that in mind, I'm very excited for today's episode. I'm going to be sitting down with Dan, who you'll meet in just a second. Now, Dan's based over in the UK, and he's gone from kind of previously running a full service digital marketing, or at least a couple of digital marketing agencies from what I understand, to transitioning into focusing specifically on professionals within the financial services space and running more of a coaching kind of done with you model. So really excited to dive into all of that, hear Dan's story and learn how he's gone about that, especially because from what I understand, he's scaled to six figures in a relatively short space of time as well. So without further ado, Dan, absolute pleasure to have you on. Appreciate you taking the time out.
You're welcome, Michael. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I appreciate the invite.
Amazing. Cool. So let's dive in. I'm really keen. Obviously, there's a lot for us to talk about in terms of what you're currently doing now and how you serve people in the financial services space. But take me back to the roots of your entrepreneurial story, so to speak. I know you had the agencies before. Was that your first business, or had you done anything entrepreneurial prior to that?
Going right back, I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial kind of mindset. Even growing up as a kid, I was always wanting to make money out of just anything and everything that I could. So I always kind of had it in the back of mind that I didn't want to work for the man for the rest of my life. And so as soon as I finished school, really, I started running club nights back when I was 17, because I had a passion for clubs. I used to go out on a weekend and get wrecked with my mates in clubs, and I thought, I want a piece of this kind of thing. So that's when I started running my own club nights, and that was my kind of introduction into entrepreneurship, really. And obviously it was a different game back then. This was like the early 2000s, when there was very little in the way of social media or the internet. The internet was in its really kind of in its infancy. So back then it was like sticking big posters up on walls, and the massive that you see in town centres, city centres, or you used to see them more than you do now, like kind of dodging the cops with a hood over your head, trying to get these posters up in a discreet way. And then obviously Facebook came out in like 2004, I think it was, and I just realised I could do a hell of a lot of the heavy lifting kind of side of things. I was not having to run around. I could do a lot of the stuff sat on my backside, setting up Facebook events and things on Facebook, getting all my friends and the DJs to invite all their friends. I'd invite all their friends, and it just meant I could get eyeballs on my product or my service a lot more efficiently than what I was doing. Just going back to, I know I've answered that in a long way, Michael, but yeah, that's basically kind of my introduction into entrepreneurship, really. And then the agencies came after that. Because I was kind of offering...
Sorry to cut you off there. I was going to say, so fast forward to the agency. How did the agency come about?
Yeah, so I started offering out because I was doing stuff I've got a lot of connections in like the club world, in hospitality, bars and restaurants. So I started offering a similar service to what I was doing, because I taught myself how to use Photoshop to promote to like design posters, flyers, artwork and things. So I started doing that as a service for the contacts that I'd made in hospitality. Just posting on their Facebook pages, basically, and creating content. And that was when initially it was just a kind of mixed batch of all sorts of local businesses, really, from all sorts of verticals, all sorts of industries, all sorts of different types of businesses. And then I realised that obviously a big chunk of those were bars and restaurants. So that's when I decided to split the two and just focus one agency purely on the hospitality side, bars and restaurants, and the other was more of a mixed match of industries and verticals.
Got it. And when was this approximately? How long ago?
So when I was up, that probably 2015, 2014, something like that. Kind of mid.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you've been running Facebook ads for quite a while, huh?
Yeah.
And when you were running that, with the two agencies, were they under different names? Like, did you kind of have
Yeah,
different brands for them both? One for the bar and restaurants, and then one for the general.
yeah, yeah. So it was called Lime Social, the hospitality side, and then the kind of generalist side was cutting edge marketing and design. That was always Cutting Edge was my name back when I used to run club events. It was called Cutting Edge Promotions, and then I took that
Hmm.
on as a saying. It's still with me now because I've got a property business as well. That's called Cutting Edge Property Services. So that is still kind of because I've always been on the cutting edge of things. That's always kind of fitted into my psyche, if you like. I've always been looking at the latest cutting edge methods in terms of promoting and growing my business.
To kind of dig into that a little bit more, you were doing mostly Facebook ads and kind of generating leads for them, or what were you providing to these businesses?
Yeah, a lot of it was organic stuff. There's a bit of Facebook ads. Back then, I was really new to it. So the Facebook ads I was doing for like bars and restaurants was to get more covers for them, really more meals, more bookings.
Hmm.
So it was quite basic, really. It was just kind of traffic campaigns to their booking providers, kind of integrated site on their website.
Yeah,
And then depending on, I did a lot of stuff for one of the businesses that I worked with was a renewables energy company. They were doing like air source heat pumps, and so that was direct lead gen. I think back then it was stuff I was doing was the lead forms within the native lead forms within Facebook, just getting as many leads as we could,
yeah.
which was profitable for them at the time. So yeah, like I said, back then it was a lot of work. I was working really hard because I've got multiple different customer profiles, multiple different campaigns, different objectives, and it was a lot. I was working a lot, and
How big? I'm curious how big that got, because I'm from an agency background, ran a local business agency as well for a while. And I know the bigger you get, the more complex things get, right? The more team members you have, the more clients you have, the messier it gets. What was your kind of max there in terms of number of clients you're working with? If you're open to sharing revenue as well, that'd be handy. And also team size. Like, what was the team size to serve that number of clients?
yeah, well, it was literally me. This was, as I say, I didn't have any staff. This is really early on in my career, so I was managing all the campaigns myself. I was doing the
Wow.
organic stuff myself. I was creating the content. Yeah, I was buying the media. I was doing everything myself, and a lot of it was different platforms on the organic stuff. It was just purely Facebook in terms of the Facebook ads. But yeah,
Hmm.
it was like I say that it got to breaking point really because obviously you can only do so much as a one man. You can only take so much clients. There's a ceiling level, and it just becomes very unscalable when you're doing it yourself, and you've got all these multiple different industries that you deal with on different profile, different platforms, and yeah, different scenarios, and yeah, it became a lot for me. And then COVID hit, which was a blessing in disguise for me because, like I say, I was at that stage where I was just working long hours, and yeah, it was just getting a bit too much. And then COVID hit, and then like obviously half of my business pretty much was bars and restaurants, which just pretty
Hmm.
much went down the toilet overnight because obviously COVID hit, and we all know what happened then to bars and restaurants and lockdown.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
talk me through that, because I can imagine that came as a bit of a shock. Eh? You had things running. Doesn't necessarily sound like everything was running perfectly smooth if it was just you, but you had a business there. You're probably bringing in money every month. Things were going relatively well. And then COVID hits, and then all of a sudden, all these businesses have to close. I went through that as well, so I know everyone was freaking out. People want to cancel, etc. How did
yeah.
that lead you to the transition of working with financial services? Were you already working with some financial services businesses on the done for you, like with the agency, or was that a new thing for you?
Yeah, so I had a couple of mortgage broker clients, and literally one of my friend's brothers, he kind of got in touch with me because he'd seen, I think his brother had shared something that I posted, and then he thought, "Oh, can you do this for my business? I'm a mortgage broker. It's different to what you're doing at the moment, but can you do something similar?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll give it a crack." So that worked well, and then he introduced me to somebody else, another broker he was obviously peers with, and then so I had two clients when we were coming into lockdown. 'Cause like I said, I had one agency which was generalist, where I had a mixed bag of clients. The other was bars and restaurants. So some of the mixed bag ones did carry on because it didn't really affect other industries as much as it did bars and restaurants. But yeah, like I say, it's still my revenue pretty much went halved overnight. But then, yeah, like I said, that was where I thought I need to change something now, because I was at this point. So I did one-to-one coaching as well. I was going just mainly just what I was doing, Facebook ads, organic stuff, just showing people how to do that on a one-to-one basis. But that was a lot of traveling around the country, and obviously COVID hit and I couldn't do that. But that's when I realised that I need to do something. I need to change something. So I had a couple of clients in financial services, mortgage brokers, and they'd actually introduced me to one of the networks. In the mortgage work, they have like mortgage networks that kind of look after them in terms of compliance. It's quite regulated, so they look after them in that sense. And there's different things they help them with. And one of these big mortgage networks got in touch with me and said, because it's lockdown, can you deliver some of these marketing kind of workshops over Zoom to upskill their kind of members while they couldn't do much in terms of lockdown. And then, just from doing those, I got about more. I think it was between 5 and 10 extra clients just from doing that. And they were all mortgage brokers. So that's the time when I thought, right, let's just focus on this market, because I got to know what they wanted, and I got to know their psychology. And so, that was when a big change for me.
Just to jump into that, so if we circle back to kind of when you started with mortgage brokers, it sounded like your first one came from kind of a personal connection. That's how you got the first one on board?
Yeah.
And that was coaching immediately, or that was done for you stuff initially?
Yeah, that was done for you stuff.
Got it. And same thing, generating leads. That was kind of generally what they needed.
Yeah, that's their main pain point. They don't
Got it. And then it sounded like you'd already started selling your own kind of coaching program to these people, or was it just generally to kind of any businesses you were coaching on if they asked for it?
Yeah, so this was before I had thought about doing a coaching program, but this was before anything had been put together. I was doing coaching, but one-to-one coaching, just traveling to people. So it was all in-person stuff.
In person, got it.
Yeah, which, again, it's not a scalable model, I don't think, doing that. You can only put yourself in front of so many people in the flesh before your time is exhausted. And I was traveling, like I say, I live in Yorkshire. I was traveling up to Newcastle one day. That's a full day just to see one client. Another day I'll be traveling down to Southampton. Again, that's hours on the road. You have to spend money on lunches. You have to, it's just a lot of wear and tear, and it's not time effective or scalable.
When you were traveling to them and you were doing the one-to-one training, what were you helping them do? Like what were they getting from that in-person training?
Just the stuff I was doing for other clients, showing them how to use Facebook ads, generally to generate leads for them. And like I say, it's in Facebook marketing, Facebook organic marketing, showing them how to create content, showing them how to, even some of them needed help with setting up profiles, because that's the beauty of if you're serving financial services, they are quite old school, and there's a big need for people like us. And so, it was a mixed bag of stuff, really. It was just tailored to whatever they needed.
Got it. Okay. And then COVID hit, you started teaching online when the kind of bodies that I guess represented or supported financial services professionals reached out to you. And your initial kind of online Zoom sessions, you just teaching lead gen, like what same stuff you were teaching in person, but now you were teaching it on Zoom?
No. So they'd asked me to do it on the benefits of, I think there was a few different sessions. It's going back, I can't remember what I'd lost last night for tea, let alone 5 years ago now, isn't it? No. But I think it was about the benefits of outsourcing your social media content. So I talked to them about, like, basically just a bit of a pitch, really, for me, which, just obviously gave some value in terms of how they can do it themselves. But there's an easier option. If you employ someone like me, I can take all that out of your hands, kind of thing. But yeah,
Got
it
it.
wasn't. It was just all organic stuff that I was showing them.
Yeah. So it was almost like a bit of a live webinar, so to speak. Hey, like you were using it as
Yeah,
almost like a sales tool to then get them to book in a call with you afterwards or buy directly from you or something like
yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah. It was a bit like like a VSL in that sense. of just giving them some value, and then
Yeah.
yeah, that's part of obviously why they got me on board to give some value, because they were upskilling, trying to upskill their guys, and but obviously they can do what they want with that information. I say, but or if you want to book a call with me, we can talk about how I can help you with it. And
Yeah.
a lot of them did that.
Got it.
Um,
Okay. So yeah, it sounds like, as you said, a bit of a blessing in disguise initially when COVID hit. You got asked to do that, and then now you had a bit of a kind of warm audience to start selling to sell this coaching to.
yeah.
When did you commit more so to kind of making that your full-time thing? Was it pretty much straight away because COVID had destroyed a lot of your other client relationships that you had, or kind of how
Yeah.
did you make the transition fully into like making coaching your main thing?
Well, coaching again, COVID, because I just had to look at my business model and realize as well that I was doing a lot of stuff, because I used to do graphic design, I used to design logos for people, I used to create websites for people. I was never a trained website designer, but I used to use Wix templates and put that together for them. And so I was doing a lot, but and I just had to look at the most profitable part of the business, which was the coaching side. I used to charge more for that for my time than anything else. So I just had to get rid of everything else and just realize that I could put this service into a product sized package, which was COVID proof, which was the key thing at the point at that
Mm-hmm.
point. So yeah, that was the decision making process in that. 'Cause like I say, I just it was my hand was forced and I had to do something. And I thought this is the way to do it,
Yeah.
because I had thought about doing a course before and putting all my skills into a package, but there was no real incentive to do it back then. I think people need a kick up the arse to do something like that, because otherwise you just keep going. You've got blinkers on, but you need to take yourself out of the day to day. And obviously, COVID forced me to do that because I didn't have any choice. But like I say, it's a blessing, I think, that it did that. So I had to look at the biggest perspective and pick out the biggest part of the business, the biggest revenue generating part, and just focus on that for one specific customer profile, which is, led me on to what I do now.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. And how long did you continue doing that on a one-to-one basis before you transitioned into more of I'm assuming it then transitioned into more of a group format. Kind of when was that, and how did you decide to do that?
Yeah, well, that was from the start. Well, from COVID, I would say that was. I think I put back then. I used a site called Teachable to
Mm-hmm.
create all the content. But yeah, that was always the goal, to do a group coaching session after COVID, like I say, because it just made sense, because it's a lot more scalable. Obviously, once it's all kind of online, it doesn't matter really how many clients that you have. You can have as many clients as you want, as long as it's set in a scalable kind of format. And I did a course with um, consulting.com back then. I don't know if you've heard of
Mm-hmm.
Sam Ovens.
Yeah, some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I did his course, and that really. I swear, when I spoke to, still speak to him now. A guy called Dave Dre, which was one of their
The sales
sales
guy.
reps.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know him as well? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he was really good, because there was back then there was two different models. There was one called Accelerator and one called oh God, I can't remember what
Up
it's
level.
called now. Up level. That's the one.
There you
Um,
go.
and I was even thinking about doing the accelerator, which is more just general stuff for people wanting to grow businesses, and then the up level was more for showing you how to put together courses. And I spoke to
Mm-hmm.
Dave, and he really said, "This is what you need to do, and this is the perfect thing." And that conversation, yeah, I'm so glad that conversation happened, because that was the perfect thing for me at that point. That just broke down, told me exactly how to format a course and a community, and do it in a way that they've done it, and it's worked for them and generates them millions per month. And so there's
Yeah.
no better people to learn from than people who are actively doing it and making millions per month from it.
Of course.
So yeah, that was an instrumental, pivotal point as well. Just having that community
Yeah.
there as well and those guys to show you through.
So talk to me about when you went through that and kind of with what you learned from that. What was your offer? Like when someone was a financial services professional, what were they buying from you? What were you pricing it at? What was the kind of promise that they were getting from that? Was it a recurring subscription? Was it a one-time payment? Kind of what was the offer there?
Yeah, so back then it was a one-time payment. I think I started it at £1,400, which gave them a year's worth. Oh, no, sorry, back then it was unlimited. It was lifetime access that I gave them. Yeah, and I think the promise was, well, just to help them generate like 3 to 5 appointments consistently per week through digital marketing. Like I say, I basically just formatted it and taught them exactly how I get my leads, because it's the same thing. I'm just relaying what I already know and I do into a productized kind of format. And yeah, it was there was different parts. I still work with Ross now, who's a Royal Marine Commando, but he does like mindset and performance. So he's got modules in there, and he always has. So there's different parts to it. It's like niche definition, and then organic stuff, Facebook ads, the mindset and performance. There's other bits in there like video production. So yeah, but it's basically, and we do obviously group coaching with them. But yeah, back then it was, like I say, granted at about £1,400 I initially started at, and it went really well. Like I say, initially, I think I ran Facebook ads and did the organic stuff, and yeah, we got a decent amount of clients very quickly.
Yeah, let's dive into that, because I'm keen to hear how you sold it. I want to dive more into kind of specifically what it is you're teaching them and how you help these guys get results. Because I know from kind of what I've heard prior, AI is a big element of it now. So I'm keen to dive into all of that. On kind of how you were selling your course, it was £1,400. Was that being sold like via a webinar or via selling a sales page, or were you selling that over the phone? How were you selling that to people?
Yeah, over the phone. Well, VSL to a phone call.
Got it. VSL
Yeah,
to book in a phone call, and then on the call you would close them. Interesting.
Yeah.
And it was always you taking those sales calls. You never hired a closer for you. It was always you taking those calls and kind of enrolling people.
Yeah, it was me doing it all. Yeah, so
Got it. And then where were most of your leads coming from? I think I cut out briefly, but I vaguely heard you mention Facebook ads. Was that where the vast majority of your leads and customers were coming from, or were you doing anything else?
not the vast majority. It's probably about 40-60. I think about 60 Facebook ads and about 40 organic. Facebook, really, back then, it was just going into groups and connecting with people and messaging them, and yeah, just pre-qualifying them in Messenger and getting them booked into a call. So yeah, it was obviously both sides of it, really.
So you'd go into kind of groups that these people were already hanging out and message them. Is that still something you do, or have you moved away from that?
Yeah, well, I've got a VA who does it for now, but yeah, 100%. It's still a worthwhile activity to do. It's a needle moving activity, I think. As long as you've got that customer profile clearly defined and you've got a profile that's optimized, building an audience, prospecting daily, I think is an essential thing to do. If you're not, I think you're just leaving a lot of money on the table.
Interesting. And you found the kind of outreach kind of to people within Facebook groups or messaging them on Facebook, has that consistently been effective for you over the years, over the time you've been doing it? Have you noticed an increase or a decrease in effectiveness as more and more people do it? How have you noticed the performance of that?
No, not for me. I've not found any decrease in it, really. I don't do as much of it on Facebook now, because probably the bulk of my leads now come from LinkedIn. But yeah, I still get a lot. Like some of my VA does a lot, but he does it on Instagram as well now. It depends on the industry, the niche that you target into, how kind of what's the word? Just how educated they are on that, or not educated, but how many other experiences they've got at people connecting with them on Facebook. Because generally, mortgage brokers and IFAs, which are my market financial services, they don't get hit up a lot with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if it was a different industry, I think, like for me, I get hit up a lot of that stuff with marketers, as you, I'm sure you'll experience yourself. We get hit up with a lot of that side of it because it's the marketers who are learning this stuff, and a lot of them are kind of infiltrating these same industries. But yeah, no, in answer to your question, I've not seen any real rapid decrease in the effectiveness of that strategy now.
Interesting. Okay. And you've mentioned you also do LinkedIn. Do you also still run Facebook ads?
At the moment, I just do some retargeting. I've really ramped it down, but I'm about to ramp it back up again. Like I say, 90% of the stuff I get through now is through LinkedIn, for lead gen through using Sales Navigator. But yeah, and that's a lot more effective. I used to spend 2 or 3 grand a month on Facebook ads, but now I pretty much get a similar result from that. It's not as scalable, but it's just giving me what I need at the minute because I'm just going for high value stuff. So I don't need the volume specifically. I just need the quality, and at the moment, that's working for me.
Yeah.
But
So you're using, or I would assume your VA is using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, right? It'll be your VA doing it for you, I guess. Or do you still do any of that yourself?
Yeah, well, I use an automation tool for that, which kind of just automates most of the process. And we're just building at the minute a ChatGPT bot that's integrated into Go High Level, which will
Yeah.
kind of take over a lot of the bit that I do at the minute. Because I'm having to, the automation will send them an initial message. It's not like a pitch. It's nothing salesy or anything. It's just literally, hi, I see you're in financial services at the minute. Crazy time. How's business? It's just to evoke a conversation. And then when you do get that conversation, when people do reply, it checks out my profile. They know what I do, so they're somewhere in the market. So then I have to manually reply. But yeah, we're just putting together something at the minute through Go High Level and ChatGPT, which will respond to people on an automated basis using AI, and it's conversational as well, which will take that need for me in that time, because it is quite obviously it's worthwhile work doing it and replying to people who are potential clients, but yeah, it'll just kind of take a lot of that time away from me doing that manually.
Got it. Okay, so that's where most of your lead flow and calls will come from at the moment. Looking to turn back on Facebook ads. Looking to turn back on Facebook ads just for scale, or is there any other reason you're looking to kind of turn those on?
Yeah, well, just recently, because I've kind of put most of my courses through. Well, my courses I've been in school for the past. Well, pretty much since school started. Because as you know, I'm sure it's Sam who runs school, so I've always bought in pretty much everything he's bought. I was in his WeTube class, and they've helped me so much. I don't know if you know Jesse as well. He was one of the community managers there. He's been amazing, Jesse Clark. So I'm just really bought in. They've just given me so much value, really. So everything pretty much that they come out with, I'm like really interested. And yeah, the school is, ever since I've been on it, it's a lot different now to what it was when I first signed up. It's 10 times better, but even back then, it was still better than the teachable model that I was doing. But going back to the question, I've just recently restructured things to like the subscription model, because before I was just doing it as a one-off, and I'm still doing I'm still doing the high ticket stuff for my top level package, but I've got 2 school groups, one which is like LinkedIn lead generation with AI, and the other which is New Age Advisor. So there's 2 different options. One is just a course. The other, New Age Advisor, is more support, one-to-one support over messages and group coaching. But the point is, I've put both those on a subscription model, so I'm going to be running ads initially to the lower ticket offer to get people in there to upsell them into the higher ticket.
Got it. Talk me through those different offers. So how many offers? Is it just 2 offers you have right now? You said there's a high ticket. Is that the one you were referring to, or is that something else?
Yeah, no, there's 3. So there's like a low, a mid, and a high, if you want to put it that way.
Talk me through those. What's the low end one? Is that the AI one, or that's a different one?
Yeah. So yeah, it's LinkedIn lead generation with AI, which is basically the strategy. I've only just put that together over the past couple of months in my New Age Advisor, which is my core kind of coaching model. That is part of
Mhm.
that course, and people are getting really good results from the LinkedIn and AI part of New Age Advisor. So I've just
Mhm.
extracted that and put that into a standalone course,
Interesting.
which yeah, and
So
yeah, and that's
what's the price point? If that's your low ticket course, what's the price point on that one?
so it's $125, but at the moment, because I've just put it literally, there's still bits I need to finish. I'm getting the first
Mhm.
kind of cohort in it at $65 a month, which works out about £52, I think, per month.
Got it.
Um,
$65 a month. Interesting. And then your goal is for them to get into that, get value, and then ascend to your new age advisor kind of mid tier program. Um,
yeah,
and they do that themselves. Do you prompt them to book in a sales call, or you've kind of got it done
yeah,
automatically where they get to the end of the course and they buy? How do you do that ascension?
yeah. So I've got. Do you school yourself, Michael?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see that feature on there where you can message people like a welcome message
Hmm.
once they've signed up. So yeah, I was going to be sending them a message offering them an onboarding call to that.
Hmm.
Um, this is the low ticket one. So offering them onboarding call. Just this is just more value. It's offering them a free call where they can obviously I will give them some advice. I'll speak to them about the goals, speak to them about where they want to be, where they're at, give them like a plan and talk them through obviously the school and just basically an onboarding call. But part of
Hmm.
that will be the offer to offer them the next level up, which will just give them more support, more accountability, and more training, more kind of methods to grow the business.
And the goal is
So
to
yeah,
send them immediately. Sorry to cut you off there. Was the goal to send them on that initial call, like
yeah,
to kind of explain what they get in the hard ticket one and immediately upsell them? Is that kind of the goal there?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we just cancel
Understood.
the subscription on the lower one and yeah, get them onto the higher one. If they need
Got
it,
it.
obviously, if they don't, then obviously they don't need it, and I'll say you just crack on with
Yeah.
with the low ticket stuff. Um,
Got it.
but yeah, like I say, that's the strategy in terms of like I say, just giving them a taster really of what we can
Of
do, and
course.
if they can have a go at themselves, but if they do need that extra support, then that's obviously where the next level up comes in.
Yeah. So it sounds like your mid tier one new age advisor is kind of your main thing. It sounds like at the moment. So I'd be keen to get into kind of what they're getting, what they're getting in those two programs. Out of curiosity, what's the investment on the mid tier one? So it goes from $65 a month now. I'll go up to 125. I think you mentioned. What's the
Yeah.
investment on the medium tier?
So at the minute it's $350 per month, which works out
Got
at
it.
278. Um, but yeah, that's
Understood.
yeah, like I say, that's on the monthly subscription, and yeah, that's basically just gives them. We do Facebook ads training there. We do protection sales coaching, which is like I say, my market is financial services, and they sell a lot of protection insurance, which is a big earner for a lot of them. So we
Hmm.
have a guy who runs that side of it. Like I say, we do mindset performance. We do organic stuff through LinkedIn and Facebook, and yeah, and the Facebook ads. But so
Yeah.
it's a more of a
Interesting.
and obviously we do group coaching sessions. Yeah, so it's more support, more accountability, and more training really than the standalone
Yeah.
course.
And there's various coaches in there, so they're getting elements from each of them. And then
Yeah,
real quick, what's your high ticket program? Is that, I'm assuming that's strictly for existing customers who are looking for a higher level of kind of coaching and support?
yeah. So that, again, that's just like another upsell really. Well, I do. This is something like I said, I've restructured things recently, and now I'm just going to be focusing on getting traffic to these school about pages using Facebook ads and things rather than selling it on a call. So I'm just going to be
Hmm.
selling the top. I'm going to be focusing just purely on the kind of high ticket offer on generating appointments for using the stuff that I'm doing at the minute, the LinkedIn stuff specifically, to generate calls to get people interested in the on the high ticket offer, and just using the Facebook ads to push targeted traffic to the about you pages on school, just to without the need for a call to sell that service, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So the high tech, how high tech is that? What are you selling the kind of top tier program for?
It's for £6,000, which is for a year's worth of one-to-one coaching. Really, it's the same strategies, really, that we're using in New Age Advisor, but it's just one-to-one additional coaching and accountability. So we'll meet up more regularly, and it just gives people, like I say, just a bit more accountability, a bit more of a kick up the backside to get them where they need to be. I do a bit of done for you with them. Like I'll put together a funnel for them. But yeah, generally it's more, what should I say, off the cuff stuff, because we just kind of thrash stuff out on the calls. There is, like I say, the course still there, but most of the stuff that they get just comes from ad hoc, us just finding out where they need to be, because they've got generally the people that invest in that are higher, well, they're at a different level to like the one-man bands who are signing up to New Age Advisor, for example. So they've got different problems. They want to scale differently, and when you're scaling differently to a different place, from a different place to another different place, than the other kind of people, it's a different set of problems. And yeah, so it's just about more kind of one-to-one, keeping in touch with each other to find out where people are than more of a static kind of course, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, and that kind of slightly answers another question I had for you, which I was curious about. So I think you mentioned earlier on in the call, a lot of these financial services guys are a little bit, I can't remember the exact term used, but a little bit old school, right? Like probably not super online tech savvy. How do you, at least from my own experience running an agency, when I tried to transition into a course model, it wasn't as easy necessarily as I thought it would be, because a lot of people were resistant to doing the implementation themselves. So I had to be kind of thoughtful as to making sure it was something they actually could do, and there wasn't too much of a barrier there. How have you approached that, and how tricky do you find it to get these guys who are maybe stuck in the dark ages a little bit technology-wise to actually set up these AI bots and kind of do the implementation themselves?
Yeah. Hard work, to put it mildly, but that's what we're here to do, right? Give people value, and they need it. And yeah, I've really, like I said, this is what I say to people on the calls. I will do whatever I can to get people to where they need to be. So I don't mind doing that. And obviously, we call it New Age, like New Age Advisor or New Age firms. So the idea, the whole kind of concept was knowing the fact that the market is archaic and it is old school. So it is all, I've got a lot of patience in guiding people through it. And obviously the modules are all step by step, just to break it down. And it does push people, because I think people do need to be pushed. But yeah, we've had people that you really wouldn't expect to, like we've had like late 50s, because generally speaking, that is the demographic of financial services, late 50s. So we've had late 50s ladies who have never touched Facebook ads, for example, and they're now generating really good business through it. And if people are committed, this is the thing, they need to be committed. But if people are committed, I will bend over backwards and I'll do whatever I can to get them the results. And the people that have been committed have seen that, and it's worked. And that's the only way it does work. But if people are committed, I think if they are, then I'll give them the world if they can give me what I need. So yeah, it's hard work.
Got it.
But like I said,
Is there anything you have changed about your program once, like knowing that it is hard work? Is there anything that you do differently? Is there anything you've implemented into your programs? Is there even a way you've thought about how you teach, or anything else you include within the coaching to make it easier for these guys to implement and to get the result that they're signing up for?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, I invest in these courses myself. I'm constantly upskilling myself, so I'm always learning from people who are ahead of me in that game. So I'm picking up the way that things. And one thing I have picked up, because I used to do really long modules. Some of them used to be like up to an hour and a half, so it's like Facebook ad stuff. But I've learned
Sam Ovens style, right?
Yeah. And I think nowadays, it's just as time goes on, people's attention spans are getting lower and worse and worse. And yeah, it's difficult to get them to sit through an hour. So I've just realised how to kind of make my modules a bit more concise, a bit more to the point. And I've learned over the time that speed is what people value in terms of obviously getting them to where they need to be. So I'm always looking at new ways for my own business, to generate business for myself with the least amount of time investment and the least amount of capital investment. And so, yeah, I'm always kind of learning myself. So every time I'm learning is like these programs, they are evergreen in the fact that they are always kind of evolving, and I'm always adding stuff to it. So what you see in there now is completely different to what it was when we first started doing it. And like I say, I'm always looking at new ways. So that's part of digital marketing, isn't it? Stuff changes pretty much on the daily. So,
yeah,
especially with the AI stuff as well.
On that, so I do want to dig into the AI a little bit more here. When you talk about, I know you said you're building your own kind of AI bot using ChatGPT to speak to leads after the initial response. And your low ticket $65 a month course, at least what it's priced at right now, is LinkedIn lead gen, I believe it was, with AI. What's the AI component there at the moment? If you haven't built out the chatbot just yet, or is that kind of pending that being built? Like, what's the AI component that you teach to these financial professionals?
Yeah, so the bulk of it is ChatGPT, using it to, well, pretty much everything that we go for each different stage. The initial kind of prompt I've engineered probably about a page and a half, like an A4 page and a half prompt, initially to define their ideal client. So that's the first kind of foundational part of what we do. We've always got that. We've always had that in the programs, but we used to get people to go out and do surveys, post in social media groups, and speak to people to find out the psychology and to look at the past kind of clients that they've dealt with to find out the ideal client. But now we can just ask ChatGPT and it just gives you ideas in three seconds about the niche and about who to target. And then we just follow that up with like the personal side of things, putting in your personal affinities or kind of experience that you've got dealing with a specific customer profile, and then it'll spit out a load of other ideas. And then we can build from that, and then we get it to build a customer avatar of the newly defined market. And then once we've got that as a kind of foundation, we can then like get it to create an offer based on like I'm assuming you're familiar with Alex Salmos's books. So yeah, obviously ChatGPT knows everything about every book in the world pretty much. So we've got a prompt that says, leaning into the learnings of $100 million offers, create me an offer based on the psychology of the market that you've already created above. And then we can lead on to create me a LinkedIn about you section based on my offer and my ideal client. So we're just going through the steps because that is a big part of it, optimizing the LinkedIn profiles around the ideal client, around the psychology of it. And then obviously we can just feed from that and say, we've got a prompt for create me a 7 days worth of content based on, which is all tailored specifically to the ideal client. And then we could just keep going from ChatGPT, create me a video script but yeah, and like I said, that's the core of the AI side of it at the moment. But like you said, it's just going to be more additions to that in terms of the ChatGPT bot that we're adding to it. And,
okay. And so your front end, just so I can kind of make sure I'm clear on how I'm thinking about this here. So your low end, your low ticket program is to help them get some quick wins in terms of using AI and LinkedIn outreach to get some new clients coming through and make some money relatively quickly. And then that's where you would send them into your medium tier, new age advisor program, where you then teach them. Is it more of the same, so to speak, or are there other? I mean, it sounds like there's other elements there as well, right? There's mindset, there's other aspects to helping them. So it's not just how to get some leads coming through and use AI to do that quickly and effectively, but it's also how to scale their business, or how do you describe the difference to them then there?
Yeah, so there is a limit really to how far you can go with the LinkedIn stuff, with the organic side of things. So obviously, it depends what people want, but yeah, there's a limit, and it can be scaled to a certain amount. But then with the New Age Advisor, we offer the next step after that. Really, if people want to scale to the next level, which, like I say, would be more through Facebook ads and a funnel, which we provide a template of, which kind of provide everything they need, really, to put together a funnel. We show them all the Facebook ads, how to push targeted traffic to that funnel, which, yeah, just takes things to the next level, really. And I think the main kind of difference in value is the support level, because obviously with the course only, it's just a course. There's no real support there. There is the community where they can post questions in there and they'll get answers. But with the New Age Advisor, it's more accountability, it's more support, and yeah, like I say, we can take them on to the next level after, because we always suggest that they do organic before they run Facebook ads, just to get product market fit and to find out that the market is kind of responding to their offer. And once we know that, we can then scale things with Facebook ads. But yeah, they're the main differences. And like you say, they are the additional bonuses, like the mindset and performance, video creation with AI. Yeah, there's the protection, sales coaching. So there's additional extras, but yeah, it's just for the base. If the people are wanting to hit that next level, then that's where they go.
Yeah. How long have you been doing your New Age Setter on a subscription model rather than like a one-time payment?
About a week.
Oh, so it's very, very new. Okay.
Yeah.
And prior to making that change, I know you said it used to be £1,400. Was it still £1,400 before you made that switch there, or was it a different price before you just made the switch?
Yeah, no, so it's to 2,400 before I made the switch.
1,400.
No, 2,000.
2,400. Okay. And now it's £350 a month, correct?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So that means that someone needs to stay about.
Sorry, I'm talking English pounds, so it's 2,400 English pounds as a one-off.
Okay.
Well, in English pounds, it works out at 278. It is at the minute. It's $350 per month, or 278. It works out at in pounds.
Got it. Okay. Cool. So 278 pounds per month, which means that someone would need to stay for about 8.5, let's say 9 months for it to make more sense.
Yeah.
I like the confidence. How confident are you that, or how sure are you that people are going to stay for 9 months and not cancel and then pay less? And what was your thinking behind that decision? More importantly, because it seems like a bit of a risk to go from selling at one time and to collect all the money up front to now getting monthly. You're getting monthly recurring, but they need to stay 8.5, 9 months for it to make sense. What was the thinking behind that?
A couple of things. One is obviously the barrier to entry is a lot less. Obviously, it's a lot easier to sell an initial £280 compared to £2,000. Which obviously, like I said, the main core of the business is going to be the 6K offer, which this is going to be used to feed people into that. So the more people I can put that in front of, and the more people I can get to kind of give them an idea of what we do before they jump up to the next level, the better. And there's another few reasons. I think it just keeps me on the ball as well. Like you say, retention is going to be a core kind of part of this new model. And I need to be creating new content really for this course every like 3 to 6 months to keep people in there. So it just gives me a bit of a kick up the arse really to keep me accountable to keep providing decent value, which I think we all need a bit of a kick up the arse in sometimes to do what we need to be doing. So yeah, that for me is another reason.
Yeah, got it. Okay. And out of curiosity, it sounds like you mentioned before, obviously you're running some retargeting ads. This is just kind of digging back into the traffic, because I find that interesting, the space you're in. Most of the traffic at the moment is coming from kind of LinkedIn outreach. if you've just transitioned this over to, sounds like the last week you've made the change, you're sending people directly to buy now, like to buy the $65 a month program, or are you still at the moment doing sales calls with a view to take those out? If someone reaches out to you right now, how are you selling them onto the initial program?
So this is something I'm testing at the minute. I've put together a VSL, which I've just literally launched yesterday. I've got some organic traffic, which I'm just making sure everything's working in terms of the automations, and it's just working all right before I put any budget behind it. But yeah, that's how I'm going to be. Like I say, I'm testing both. I'm going to be running some ads directly to the school About You page, and others through the VSL, which will just warm them up, and then that VSL just directs them directly to the About You page. Once, say, some people just need a bit more warming up than others, I think. So I'm just going to test the two and see which is getting the best, the best metrics, and what's working the best in that sense. So there's only one way to find out, I think. Just to give it a go on both.
Got it. Sweet. Well, I find this fascinating, especially the space you're in. I haven't seen this offered too heavily. Is there much competition in kind of doing what you're doing, or are you kind of in a bit of a league of your own? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, no, that's the beauty of it. There are a few guys who offer marketing services to financial services, but we all do different things in that sense. There's a guy who's really big on personal branding. He just does one-to-one coaching. And then there's another lady who down south. She does kind of more personal branding she'll do a day with them and take photos and make it all polished and things. But we all do. There's about 3 or 4 of us. But yeah, nobody does the same as me.
Yeah. Sweet. Cool. I find all that fascinating. I know we've kind of got a bit of a stop here that I want to wrap up in time for. I guess my last question here, Dan, would just be, like, I know you said your goal is to push people into the £6,000 program. Where do you see this going over the next 12 months? If everything went to plan for you over the next 12 months, what would your offers look like, and where would things be different to where they are at the moment?
So if everything goes to plan, I'll have, like I say, I've just literally launched the low ticket option. So I want to have like hundreds of people in there, an active community of people that are, some of them are trickling through, some of them are getting value just from that, some are trickling through to new age advisors, some are trickling through to new age firms, which is the high ticket stuff. And I'm just spending my time on the high ticket stuff and doing less, because I was doing obviously a lot of calls with the new age advisor stuff, and that was taking up a lot of my time. So I just want to focus my time on the higher ticket stuff, do less calls, have to do less deals really, because obviously that service isn't as scalable as others. So I've got a kind of a limit of how many clients I can take on that. So I just want to have that exhausted, have a bit of a waiting list for that, which is just giving me more free time to spend actually on the business, building the business and building new trainings and things, because ultimately that's like we talked about before, that's something I'm accountable to do, and I need to be doing. I need to be refreshing the training and keeping people, retaining people, and I can't do that when I'm constantly on the phone selling. So I just want to free up my time to spend on the high ticket stuff, do less calls, which creates more value than spending it on the new age advisor stuff, which will just be that should be just directly done from the About You page, sold from there, rather than me having to make calls, do calls.
Understood. Okay. Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to kind of spectating and seeing how it goes from a distance. Just before we wrap up here, where's the best place if anyone wanted to connect with you? Where are you most active?
Facebook, or anywhere really. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube.
Or they can join your skill community for more access, eh? But
absolutely.
But yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Yeah. But yeah, I've got links for those as well. Obviously, if people, I know my market is very niche, but if there is anyone,
of course,
who's in financial services who wants to generate qualified appointments consistently, high value appointments, then yeah, just give me a shout, or anyone wants to connect and see how I'm going. Yeah, just Dan Reddish on everything: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Awesome.